You're now listening to the Something Good Podcast Network. Please press any key to continue.
Hello, folks. This is Chris from the Couch Brotatos, bringing you a bonus episode with my friend
Cristy Phillips.
Thank you for being on the show. Today, we're gonna go through a little list of movies based on real events and people. We've been talking about this for a while off mic, and we've made a kind of comprehensive list that we will not go through.
There's no way.
No way in hell. But these are just some of our favorites. Just movies based on true stories that we really love watching, and some of us just like obsess over just a little bit.
Just a little
bit. And to go over one that is loved by a lot of people.
The one that started this list.
Tombstone, starring Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell, Bill Paxton, rest in peace, Sam Elliott, and a plethora of other motherfuckers that really do it well. Michael Biehn as Ringo, Powers Booth, and quite a few others.
Diana Delaney.
Yeah, Diana Delaney. Hotter than sin, I think, would be the perfect term for that.
Yes.
But, going into Tombstone real quick. But best Western of all time.
I can't but agree.
Yeah, right up there.
Mm-hmm.
Right up there with A Million Ways to Die in the West.
And Rio Bravo.
I don't like John Wayne.
I know, but Rio Bravo is my favorite for childhood reasons.
Yeah, I'm more of a Pale Rider. Fistful of Dollars. Mm-hmm. Fucking just. Is that a preacher? No, that's the devil. Yep. That's Clint Eastwood, the devil showing up to blow your fucking head off.
Yeah.
But no, this one was such a great movie.
It is. It really, truly is.
It was Kurt Russell in his fucking prime. He just came out of the 80s doing all his fucking best movies. The Thing. What was the other one? There was The Thing. Mm-hmm. There was Escape from New York. Mm-hmm. Big Trouble in Little China. Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Then he did those comedies with Goldie Hawn. Did a couple of those. And then in the 90s, he had Tango and Cash. Soldier came out after 2000. And this one was right in the 2000s, or the 1990s range. Mm-hmm. Just fucking fantastic movie.
Yes.
And you could not remake this cast.
No.
As good as it was.
There's no way. Even if all of them were still with us, you couldn't remake this.
Yeah, that's what I feel bad about Val Kilmer, man. He just fucking went downhill so quick, and he had some fantastic movies. Yes. Some of his movies just alone were just out of this fucking world. Mm-hmm. Even like the B-list ones you never heard of were really good. Yeah. Like The Salton Sea and shit like that. It was a fucking fantastic movie. But yeah, Tombstone. It's the story of Wyatt Earp and his brothers. Mm-hmm. And their weird buddy, Doc Holliday.
Yes. And the city itself, Tombstone.
Yeah. They do get some, facts-wise, there are some stretching.
Yeah, the Hollywood takes its interpretations.
Also, a big one that kind of gets really overdone is the Sheriff Behan guy, Sheriff Behan. Yeah. He's played kind of like a pussy in the movie, but in real life, he wasn't. Mm-hmm. In real life, he killed two of those cowboys very badly, like in a brutal way. Yeah. And they don't really show his turn in the movie, and it kind of, when you know it kind of fucks the movie up for you a little bit, which happens a lot. But yeah, this is one of those movies me and you could quote from beginning to end. Yes. But it's so perfect. It's such a perfect fucking Western. I can't recommend it enough for people. We had it on, it's one of the first few DVDs we owned first. Mm-hmm. Do you remember when the first time you saw it was?
To be honest with you, no, because it just seems like it was always there.
Yeah.
I remember...
Like the Predator movie.
I remember the first time that we watched it, my uncle videotaped it off of HBO. Yeah. And we had it on 2 VHS tapes.
Damn, double.
And it was, HBO did the thing where they showed the first half, and then they did the little intermission thing where they had the clock running on HBO when the other half was going to start.
Yeah.
And my uncle taped it, and the end of the tape had that thing on it where it had the part where it had the little clock at the end because he had fell asleep.
Ago, yeah. I think they stopped doing that because of the people were just pirating movies off HBO.
Yeah, which I mean technically he was, but I remember watching it, and I remember it was one of those things where you respect Wyatt Earp in the movie, but Doc Holliday's your favorite. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just the swagger he has throughout the whole fucking movie.
Yes,
his opening scene is a robbery.
Yeah, I mean he's technically a bad guy throughout the whole entire movie.
There's nothing really redeemable about him except for that one line, which happens after the major shootout where they kill Powers Booth. Spoiler alerts for a movie from the 90s.
Yeah,
but he's coughing his fucking guts out, and they're like, "Why are you doing this?" And he's just like, "Wyatt's my friend."
The other guy says, "I got lots of friends." And
he's like, I don't. Great fucking line, and it kind of justifies his whole character throughout the whole movie.
Yeah. And then, to me, another time where he's justifiable as far as helping out, and that's one of the things about this movie. It has so many redeeming qualities as far as a storyline, a plot line, and a storyline goes.
That's the great thing about like a true story is, especially about someone who's like over the top heroic.
Yeah.
And as a figure of the Old West, he's kind of small. Like, Wyatt Earp, in all intents and purposes, is a small character.
Yeah, he's a drop in the bucket of the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, like if you did a movie about like Bass Masterson or something like that, or that'd be a crazy ass fucking story to tell. It'd be damn near impossible. Clint Eastwood did Outlaw Josie Wells, but that was just a short, like small movie.
Yeah.
But some of these characters, just like you could do a movie about the whorehouses, like just one whorehouse, just pick one.
Yeah.
And their crazy ass fucking story of how they settled the West their way, Yep. And I'm just waiting for a really good Donner Party movie. Just a really good one.
Oh.
It's going to be so good.
Oh, God.
With Anthony Hopkins.
Oh. Anthony Hopkins would do it well.
Julianne Moore as Mrs. Donner.
Woo.
Yeah. Our fake casting.
Yes.
But yeah, we can't say enough about the Old West movie. This one though, but
no.
We could probably do a whole list of westerns we love because that's got to be bonus content for the show. And,
oh, absolutely.
And that's what this episode is, guys. This is a bonus episode for everybody. Just have on the back burner for you. But yeah, go ahead and pick another. We made quite a large list, so we're just cherry picking what we like.
Honestly, I'm not gonna go in order. I'm gonna jump.
Yeah.
And I am going to pick. Oh, why not? Conspiracy.
Oh, great movie. Saturn shit.
Yes.
But a conspiracy is the tale of how a handful of guys for the Nazi Party came up with the final solution.
It is the Wannsee Conference.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why, and it's terrible to say I like this movie, but I like the way they do the movie. The movie is extremely well done. And it's well done because this is a blunder in history for the Nazi Party that turned into an extremely well done movie.
Yeah.
One of the things that this comes back to bite them badly when the Nuremberg trials happen, because the minutes from this meeting are supposed to be destroyed by everybody. They take the minutes from the meeting and they record them on paper recording tapes, and then they get written into a transcript, and everybody gets a copy of the transcript. And all the people that attend this meeting get their transcript copies, and then after they read them, they're supposed to be either memorized or whatever, but then they're supposed to be destroyed.
No evidence.
No evidence. There's one idiot. Martin Luther is his name that comes to this event, and he does not destroy his notes, his minutes from the meeting, and they find them after the war. And they use his notes from the meeting and his minutes from the meeting at the Nuremberg trials. Yeah. And also, they use his copy of the notes in the meeting minutes to make this movie's script. So when they're actually up there talking, they are literally saying their lines from the script from the minute notes from the meeting. And another thing to relate it to Tombstone, you couldn't remake this cast.
No, you had Kenneth Branagh, Colin Firth, Stanley Tucci. You had some no-name actors at the time, but are big now. Tom Hiddleston.
Yep, Tom Hiddleston shows up for a minute.
But yeah, just a grand cast throughout. There are a couple of outliers in this movie that really played the character kind of a little too perfect, a little bit. As we've said, like me and you've talked about this, British people are really good at playing Nazis.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
They're really fucking crisp.
Yeah.
Like I will say that they're fucking crisp when they go to play these motherfuckers. But there is what I really loved about the film is their take at the very end, where you have Stanley Tucci's character and Kenneth Branagh, the two main guys of the meeting, the biggest people in the Nazi party at that meeting. Stanley
Tucci plays Eichmann.
Yep.
And Kenneth Branagh plays Reinhard Heydrich.
Yeah, me and you not long ago went to the theater and saw a movie about Adolf Eichmann.
Yep.
Starring Ben Kingsley.
Which is actually also on this list too.
Yeah.
Coincidentally.
But it's about his end from South America. But there's Stanley Tucci talking about like this brutal fucking thing. It's analogous story, kind of like a psalm or something like that, where a man is who hates his dad and is beaten by his dad. Everything. His mom dies, he doesn't shed a tear, but when his dad dies, he just can't hold it. And it's just like after everyone you hate is dead, what's left? Yeah. And it's a great analogy of just like there's always someone else to take the blame with like this kind of situation, and it worked perfectly throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, and what I really love about this movie is it could be a play.
Yeah,
because it's only set in one room. Anything outside of that room is just speculation. Maybe eyewitness testimony talked about the servants or something like that, but anything outside of that little room they're in is just conjecture.
Yeah.
So it adds to the movie to a little bit, but it's very claustrophobic when they're all talking about this horrific thing that will eventually become the Holocaust. Yeah. And they've already started, but this is before the ramp up.
Yeah, this is the final decision of exactly how they're going to do it. The other thing that messes with me so much about this movie is, like you said, when they're at the table, there is no emotion at the table. The only person that has emotion at the table is Colin Firth's character. And what he's emotional about, which is another thing that just lights my rockets more than anything about this, he's emotional about the fact that his laws that he's helped make are being ignored.
Yeah.
And
superseded.
Yeah. Nobody's mad at the fact that they're literally making a decision about how to destroy an entire race of people. Or an entire group of people. The best, most money-saving, easy on their soldiers type of way to destroy an entire group of people. And the emotionless way that these individuals deliver it as actors is uncanny to watch.
Yeah, it's very robotic. It's very sociopath.
Yeah.
Every one of them at the table is a sociopath. There is a little bit of shock and awe on a few people's faces. Colin Firth actually kind of sneaks it in a little bit because you're thinking, okay, he's not down with the whole thing until he's just like, if we make it legal, the world would understand.
Yeah.
And it's a very cold-hearted bureaucracy kind of statement that we don't want to look bad doing this, even though it's the worst fucking thing possible. But if we prove that we had, a legal right to do so, we're golden.
Yeah.
And it's fucking horrific.
Yeah, you're holding, like Chris said, spoilers for a movie from way back, but you're holding out hope for Colin Firth's character because he's fighting so hard. And there is another character at the table, Dr. Chrissinger, and he's mad because he got told that this was not going to happen.
Yeah.
That something else was going to come up. There was going to be another way. And then when he gets here, he realizes he's been lied to by everybody, including Hitler. And
he realizes he's obsolete.
Yeah, he basically just sits back and he's like, I've been I've been lied to by everyone around me, and I'm just going to have to, I can't rebel against it. I'm just going to have to go with it and just accept it.
But like, of all those movies, this is probably one of those that slip under the radar very quickly.
Yes.
This wasn't a lot of fanfare on this movie. This is a movie for people who knew what they wanted to watch. Mm-hmm. And there's not a lot, talk about it. When we talk about movies like, World War II era and the Holocaust and stuff like that, I think this is probably one, top 10, easily top 5. For me, probably number 1 or 2 for you.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is not just playing it up, but it's how accurate it is.
Yeah.
And that's very important when you're trying to tell, a true story. Mm-hmm. This is probably one of the few most accurate movies you could tell about history, period. But yeah, going on to another one. I want to bring this up because it is so off base.
Uh-oh.
JFK.
I knew you were gonna do. I saw your eyes glaze over. I just knew it.
Yeah, glaze over, and the devil took over. So, for those who don't know,
Chris hates the movie JFK.
I do.
However, I love the movie, but for a completely different reason.
Yeah. So Kevin Costner plays the lead attorney,
Jim Garrison. Now you're going to have to agree with me. Kevin Costner plays him very well.
I've been asleep all my life.
3 years.
3 years.
I've been asleep for 3 years.
The problem I have with this movie is Oliver Stone and Oliver Stone's History of America, according to Oliver Stone, is batshit insane.
Now look, you can't say I'm wrong. Kevin Costner does an amazing job. There's so much A-list talent. You can't watch this movie for 30 seconds without running across A-list talent.
Let's go over some of the talent.
Okay.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
Joe Pesci. Mm-hmm. Gary Oldman as Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Costner. I'm trying to remember the woman who played his wife.
I was just trying to think of her name
anyway,
too.
This fucking...
Sissy Spacek.
This goddamn movie. I get it. There is a conspiracy that killed the president. We don't know the answers. And this is a true thing that happened. Mm-hmm. And this guy blames homosexuals for killing the president. What the fuck?
He doesn't just blame them, but
it's
helps.
A big fucking part of it. Joe Pesci, though, playing the guy who knew Oswald previously in an earlier life, is goddamn hilarious.
That's another one of them. I'm sorry. I have watched footage because I have gone down the rabbit hole of the JFK conspiracy thing. I have seen actual footage of the person that Joe Pesci plays.
Yes.
I have seen them interview him and talk to him. He looks just like him. The props people set him up very well, costume-wise and everything.
With the power eyebrows, yeah.
He looks just like him. He acts just like him. He's talking just like him. He does quite a good job of an interpretation of him. Kevin Costner does a good job, I think.
Oh, no, he's a fantastic actor in this movie.
Yes.
This movie probably made his career, in a way.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah. Right up over like Tin Cup.
I love that movie.
Yeah, everybody loves that fucking movie.
And
it's better than where we build the baseball field for ghosts.
The other part of this movie that I really, really like is...
the blatant racism?
No. The part of this that I actually really like is when they're actually doing the trial part of it.
Yes.
Because the trial setup is actually really interesting to me. Because when you go back and you look at it in real life, at the real evidence with the real trial and everything, because that's the part they don't cover in the movie. Because that's what's messed up. In the movie, they don't tell you how he loses the trial.
Yeah.
Because spoiler alert, he loses the trial. Big shocker there. He loses the trial. All they say is he loses. But what they tell you at the end of the movie, when they're rolling the credits at the end, is that the National Committee on Assassinations rules that they believe there was a conspiracy to have JFK assassinated along with Martin Luther King Jr. They don't say how. They don't say why. They don't give you any details on that. But That's just in the movie.
Yeah, so the committee on assassination is mind-boggling because a lot of this came out later in 68, 69 when Coretta Scott King approached the government about the man who allegedly killed her husband. And she's like, that guy didn't kill my husband, you goddamn animals. And she won. Yeah. And that's how the whole thing comes crumbling down.
Which you can hear on the episode of History We Forgot, the assassinations of the 60s.
Yes.
Shameless plug.
But this movie is just so over the top.
It really is over the top.
But it's an Oliver Stone movie, so I kind of understand. But that's what I hate about Oliver Stone movies. They're really, really good, but they are so all fucking based from the truth. Like, if you're going to do a biopic, I can't have, Dick Cheney with robot arms. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's too over the top. But there's a movie that, fun fact, coming up, there will be a movie about Dick Cheney that I watched that is fantastic. Yeah. But it's a fun watch. It's from 1991. It's a little dated a little bit. Yeah. But, you had people like Ed Asner, John Candy's in it. Fucking, like, just...
Jim Garrison himself is in it.
Yeah, Laurie Metcalf from fucking Roseanne, she's in it. And just a whole plethora of fucking people are in it that are just fantastic to watch. And I recommend it to anyone who wants to watch just any biopic that's just batshit crazy. To me... You take it with a grain of salt, though.
Absolutely. One of the things for me about it was the first time I watched it... Dad had me watch it because I did that thing where I came home from school and I said, they told us at school that Lee Harvey Oswald shot John F. Kennedy.
Bull fucking shit.
Dad's like, we got a movie you got to see.
Yeah. He's a lot calmer than I would have been.
I watched it and then it turned me into, really? Now I got to research.
Yeah.
So
I wait for my nieces to get to that age when they learn about JFK in school and they're like, Lee Harvey Oswald killed Kennedy. You're goddamn right he did. And just been like wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. You goddamn right. At 3 shots at 250 feet at a moving target. He was a Marine. And I'm just like, just blatantly.
Army.
Yeah. Just brutally talk about it. Just like, oh yeah. Nah, that's not true. The aliens killed Kennedy. They used their phasers and made him commit quantum suicide.
Like from Mars Attacks.
From Mars Attacks. It's just more brutal.
Yes. Alrighty. Let me see.
With such a large list.
It is
we won't get through this whole list. This is going to be a part 2 bonus.
It's a very large list. I'm torn between 2. All right. Braveheart.
Oh, the 2.5 hour long epic that is Mel Gibson's career.
I'm sorry. Mel Gibson is such a problematic human being. But
he is, but like...
I love Braveheart so much. You separate the art from the artist.
You know what I'm saying?
I love Braveheart so much.
And I love Kevin Spacey movies. God damn it.
I do too.
But fuck.
I can't. I love Kevin Spacey movies. Kevin Spacey is a horrible human being that exists on this earth.
I watched this movie at a young age, and I fucking shouldn't have.
Same.
This was that go-to like TNT movie on like a Wednesday.
Yes.
Like you're just like, I don't want to go to school. You wake up that morning, watch The Price is Right. Your parents are like, I don't give a fuck, can stay out of school. And then it's like, what's this? It's Braveheart on TNT or TBS.
Or for at our house, it was, we're all hanging out on the weekend, and Dad's tired of us watching Dirty Dancing and Roadhouse.
How can you get tired of watching Roadhouse?
Because all the girls in the house just wanted to watch Patrick Swayze.
I don't know. Roadhouse is a man's movie too.
But Mom's argument was, all right, we'll split the difference. All of us girls will stare at Mel Gibson in Braveheart, and you can watch the battle scenes in Braveheart.
This is probably one of those first movies I realized, like, when you watch it, like, how large scale production had to be.
Yeah.
Like, I'll give it to Mel Gibson. Production, he's all about production value. All about having authentic, costumes, he's very detail oriented.
Yeah.
When he did Passion of the Christ, that's a very detailed movie.
Yeah.
It's a horror movie by any other standards.
It really is.
And we've talked about it on Couch Brotatos before, that the part 2 may be coming out. Listen to the episode. We'll talk about it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think it's going to be...
Literally.
I think it's when he finds the Easter Bunny. I'm really hoping it's the Mormon version where he comes to America.
I just sat down my cup very heavily if you didn't hear it.
Yeah. But no, it's a fantastic movie. It's a whole story about revenge.
Yeah.
And it's one of the best movies about revenge.
I mean, it really is.
Like, you can't beat this story. You know, this guy, he leaves his childhood home with Brian Cox.
Yeah.
Comes back, meets a girl he knew when he was a child, takes back his family farm area, integrates himself back to society with these people. He's learned the world. Mm-hmm. He's not dumb. He's very tactful and well-read, and he doesn't quite fit.
But he just wants to be happy and be left alone.
Yeah. And he's ready to settle down. Mm-hmm. And this came out like the same time like The Highlander and shit, so there was a lot of movies with like big, production range when it came to scenery and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the way they do Scotland and the preamble with the King of Edinburgh doing the narration throughout the movie is perfect.
Yeah.
Because he's the witness of the whole thing.
Yeah.
If you look up the story of William Wallace, it is very, fanaticized a little bit. It is fantastical.
They do take they take quite a few liberties in the movie Braveheart, too.
There's a lot of myth that goes along. But it doesn't really take away from the movie as much as like JFK. Yeah. Like, this movie was very straightforward at what it needed to be done. I need a rebel to cause a rebellion to establish a country from disorder. Yeah. And that's what it did. It told that story. Everything else is just icing on the fucking cake. Yeah. From the queen to the prince to the king himself. And what names? William Wallace, cool fucking name. That's a comic book character.
Go ahead and do it, because I know you're going to.
Fucking Longshanks.
What? If this is what we talked about in the episode we just recorded. If you're gonna name a villain.
Yeah. Give him a name, because this is the same guy who played Judge Noose. Yep. In A Time to Kill. Yep. This guy plays perfect villains in every movie.
Speaking of Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
I was wrong. It is my birthday.
Yeah. Just a Southern cotillion asshole. But if only it was the true story. But movies based on books will be next.
Speaking of another join us then in our 15-part series.
But with this one, it was so kind of visceral a little bit, because there's like subtle things that you notice when you watch it like the 13th time. Especially what I love is they allude to the Prince of England being gay. Mm-hmm. Okay. His dad chucks his battle buddy, out a fucking window. Yeah. But there is one line of dialogue when William Wallace is, coming down the mountain to sack York, the second largest city in England. Mm-hmm. And the guy is freaking out. The guy that's in charge of York is freaking the fuck out. And he says one line that you gotta catch. He's like,
I know which one you're talking about.
Am I going to ask my cousin, the sodomite, to help me? Ooh. And I'm just like, holy shit, how did I miss that? And it's just like, they know. It's an open fucking secret that this basically fairy ain't going to do shit. But his dad will. His dad had to come back. Had to come home early from work.
Early from work.
Because he was invading France. Everybody forgets that part. He was invading France.
Yeah.
The whole time. He's like, I came back from expanding my empire. Could come home to this bullshit. Mm-hmm. And he's such a fantastic villain.
He is. He really, truly is.
When he starts talking about like the Scottish people and degrading them a little bit, just enough. He's like, the problem with Scotland is it's full of Scots. And prima nocta, the lighting of the match to set this whole thing ablaze, was a duke or lord had a right to a wife the night
on their wedding night.
Yeah. Fucking brutal. Mm-hmm. It's said jokingly in an Avengers movie, actually. Yeah. In Age of Ultron, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Robert Downey Jr. says it.
Yeah, and it's perfect.
When he's going to try to lift Thor's hammer.
Yeah. I will be reinstating prima nocta. Mm-hmm. It's fucking hilarious. But the fucking... I could go a whole fucking episode just talking about this movie.
Yeah, me too.
But my favorite scene in this movie is after his wife is killed. He goes to turn himself in. And he has his hands up behind his head. He's riding on a horse into town, slow.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've never seen the movie, you don't know what's going to happen. Like, he doesn't foreshadow it at all.
No, this is Dad's favorite scene too.
He's riding, and a guy grabs the reins. A British soldier grabs the reins, but he has a very sympathetic look on his face.
Like they know what's happened.
Yeah, but the soldier, in all intents and purposes, looks like an innocent man. Like the way they made him look, his face and everything. And then Mel Gibson's face goes from just melancholy to hate.
Mm-hmm.
And he bashes that dude's head in immediately.
With a mace.
And he just... there's a tear through the fucking village. And that's what it is. It's a small hobble village. No different from like the Hobbits. Like that's what they're, mud huts. And he is tearing ass through that goddamn village just to get to that fort. And every guy in town is like, we're back in his play. It's no different from Tombstone. It's just like, we're going to light these motherfuckers up.
Because they've all had to deal with it too.
Yeah. One of my favorite actors is in this movie who's in a lot of B-list stuff. The guy with the cuts on his face. The real
one
life.
from Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah. And just, it's all about him and William Wallace, and they are just tearing ass through this, and they get to the very top, the very tippy top, and burn it to the ground. And William Wallace is like, we're done. What's fair is fair. Mm-hmm. And he didn't want to go no further.
Yeah.
But he's ramped these guys up. No, let's not stop until we get to the fucking top. And it's like, God damn it. Yeah, I guess. Okay. And it's just like, let's burn it all down. And it's very the story of Charles Manson. It's just like where he ramped all these fucking women up. They're like, well, Charlie, now we got to go kill the pigs. He's like, well, hold on. Let me tell you. All right, let's go kill the pigs. It's just like, and that's the true story of Charles Manson, this fucking lackadaisical idiot. But this is the movie that set off like all the other ones.
Yeah.
When it came to giant battles at this scale. Peter Jackson was next. And then you had Lord of the Rings, you had Kingdom of Heaven, you had 300, Zack Snyder, Mm-hmm. This was the first one.
Yeah.
And it was very important to be made. You had ones before that, like Lawrence of Arabia and stuff like that, and Zulu and Shaka Zulu and all that. But nothing to this.
Yeah.
Nothing as like...
Nothing to the scale.
Yeah, not the scale and in depth on a true character. And it's very fantastic. Like, it's right up there with like 10 Commandments when it's talking about scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just a fun movie.
I love that movie.
What's your next one?
Your turn.
Oh,
that was my pick.
Oh, man.
Let me not take a sip of chai tea latte until I hear this. No, I don't know. I might just be excited or be aggravated. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what you pick.
Ooh, there's so many good ones. I tell you what, I'm going to pick the greatest sports movie ever made, A League of Their Own.
I agree with you. 100,000%.
That is the greatest sports movie ever made. I don't give a fuck what anyone else has to say. That is the best movie. One, it's about America's pastime, and it's about women doing it when every guy is like trying to kill a Nazi and a Japanese man.
Absolutely.
It's such a great movie. I grew up watching this on TNT.
Me too.
A lot of these movies were on TNT.
Yes, they really were. Bring back TNT.
You kids.
Hashtag bring back TNT.
Anybody younger than the age of 30 is
looking at their phones going, what is TNT?
Anyone younger than 30 is really missing out on the golden age of cable television when TNT was like the poor man's HBO.
Yes.
And Ted Turner was just like, remember Star Wars would be on there all the time? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So fuck everyone else's streaming service. TNT was the place that go.
And then
that and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh God, what was his name? When they had the horror movie nights and the guy would be in the little RV outside.
Oh yeah.
Bob something or other.
Yeah, Bob. He moved to Shudder. He's still going.
Oh, cool.
Still going. I saw Edward Scissorhands for the first time on TNT.
Oh, cool.
Fucking fantastic. But no, this is such a fun movie.
It really is. So, yet again, another cast you couldn't pick.
Gina Davis.
Madonna,
Tom Hanks, Rosie O'Donnell, John Lovitz.
Yep.
Such a great cast. And the best part
Bill
of
Pullman.
Bill Pullman.
How did we forget Bill Pullman?
We talked about it on Independence Day because he's a lower cast member on this one.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks though. Another great Tom Hanks movie. Very few bad movies this man makes. Mm-hmm. And especially when it comes to like true stories. When Tom Hanks does true stories, they're very well done.
Oh, yeah.
Because, for those who don't know, Tom Hanks was very involved in the story of Band of Brothers. Uh-huh. Very well involved with Gary Sinise doing that. Gary Sinise, who's his best friend with Spaceman Legs.
Spaceman Legs.
The Apollo 13 movie. It's such a good movie. I don't think that's even on our list, but
we got too excited with like the first stack.
Yeah, we got the first 25 really just came pouring out. Mm-hmm. But with A League of Their Own, I've talked about it before on an earlier low backlogged episode of Couch Brotatos about sports movies. But like this to me is the greatest sports movie for 3 reasons. It tells a true story very accurately. Mm-hmm. The casting and the ups and downs of the movie really work well.
Yes.
When you have parts of the movie where one of the young ladies is getting a letter saying her husband died, and she has to leave. That's terrible.
Yeah.
The upswing, though, is the tension between Gina Davis and her sister in the movie. Mm-hmm. That really makes the movie because they're just trying to get out. And at the very end of the movie, we see the real people. Mm-hmm. These old school, great generation women, older than hell, I will say that.
Yeah.
On the field at the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Still playing.
And playing the game. And that's the best thing about this movie because you'll never get that in another movie like this.
Yeah.
They're just so fantastic from beginning to end because it's kind of like a slapstick comedy a little bit in the beginning with John Lovitz and Gina Davis, and he's just like, I'm just trying to get a bitch to play baseball, just get the fuck on the train.
Yeah. And
she's like, well, my sister, and like, I don't want her, I want you. And Gina Davis is fantastic in this movie.
Yes, she is.
And she still got it, you know what I'm saying? The last time I saw her was in the Exorcist show.
Yeah.
But and Tom Hanks, again, just fucking perfect.
Yeah.
He just plays this off-the-wall drunk, just trying to get his shit right. He's too old to go to fucking war. He can't really do anything else except talk about baseball or coach baseball. And he's just so flabbergasted at it's girls. Mm-hmm. Girls can play baseball. And it's just like that weird fucking accent he has. And it's all sponsored by a goddamn candy company.
Yeah.
And like you said, some of the other people in the movie, Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell, just, these walk-on characters who are just doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And they play it up so well because that's how these people were back then. Mm-hmm. And it fits perfectly. Marla Hooch, what a hitter.
I love it so much.
Oh, it is such a fun movie.
And one of the things that I love about it so much is not only
I was kind of curious if it passes the Bechdel test, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. One of the things that I always loved about it, aside from the fact that it's all these powerhouse women playing these powerhouse women, I actually did some digging a while back into Gina Davis for this movie. She played for real in the movie.
Yeah.
And so did Madonna. So did Rosie O'Donnell. All of them actually played in the movie.
Yeah.
They didn't have stand-ins. They really did play. And Gina Davis said that this is one of her favorite movies to do.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's probably her best movie, I think. Like, in my opinion, this and Long Kiss Goodnight were probably her best movies.
I'd have to agree with you for sure.
Yeah, like this was a very fun movie. You can tell they're playing. Mm-hmm. You could tell. I just love like the little quips in the movie.
Yeah.
That just come out of fucking nowhere where they're all trying to sneak out to go get a drink and go have a good time. And then you have people like Madonna like just talking about like when they're just trying to like spitball ideas to make the game more interesting, and she's just like, what if hear me out. I go to score at third and my tits come out. And it's just like,
and then Rosie O'Donnell, you think there are men in this world that haven't seen your bosoms?
Yeah. It's fucking funny as fuck. But the girl that plays her sister is a fantastic actress.
Yeah.
Because she played Tank Girl.
Mm-hmm. I love that movie.
And she is very, very good at what she does. She last appeared in Orange is the New Black in that show. She does a fantastic job in that. And it's very visceral when they're having that conversation back and forth where it's just like, you're better than me and I fucking know it and I hate it.
Yeah.
That is just a fucked thing, and then it comes down to, the very last play, bottom of the ninth.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Gina Davis is at the plate. You just need a run, and that's it. Game over. And her fucking sister hits the ball. Gets called in the outfield. It's damn near a double play if you don't know anything about baseball. Mm-hmm. And she's fucking running it. She just skips past fucking second base, goes to third, and runs to home. And everybody's like, what the fuck's happening? And her sister's catcher, and she's just like, nah.
You're not getting home plate.
And boom, tackles his sister, Gina Davis. Drops the ball. She drops the ball.
Yeah.
And I just love that guy. That old school vaudevillian fucking announcer.
Who follows them everywhere throughout the whole entire movie.
Oh my God, she dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah. And one of the things, that's one of the things about it. The little stuff that you see throughout this movie. The character building throughout the movie is what's so good about it. Because as you watch throughout the movie, Gina Davis's character, there's a point at one point where she catches the ball, she catches an out, and she literally falls into the dugout, and the dugout's made out of concrete.
Yeah, so this is, for those who don't know, baseball back in the day didn't give a fuck about anybody.
Yeah.
They didn't have railing in front of the dugout. There was no railing. There was wood seating, concrete. That's all it was.
Yeah, she catches the ball, and she does not drop it.
No.
And she gets hit all the time and slammed into people, and she never drops the ball. And this has got to be the only time in her career in the history of ever that she drops the ball, and it's her sister.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where one of those things. This used to be a big discussion at my house. And Mom would be like, do you think she dropped it because it's her sister, or do you think she actually dropped it because she hit her? And I'm like, I don't know.
I think it's a combination of both. I think she realized she got hit and just said, fuck it. At that time, in the movie, she talks about, hey, I'm leaving. Mm-hmm. And Tom Hanks like, where the fuck are you going? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Her husband's she's going back to the farm, blah, 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 blah. Her husband ain't quite back yet. And, Tom Hanks is like, that's my best fucking player, And it adds to the nuance of the movie.
Yeah.
Another favorite part of the movie, which is just like a little quip, is Madonna's character teaching that girl how to read horror books.
She's reading her smut book.
Yeah, she's got a little smut book, and like, and Rosie O'Donnell, this is back when Rosie O'Donnell was fucking hilarious, and she's like, "What are you doing, Meg? I'll teach her how to read that raunchy shit." And it's just like,
what does it matter? She's reading. Go away.
Yeah, fuck off, fuck off.
All right, let me see. Let's go over here to the dark side a little. Oh, why not? Amityville.
Oh, what a crock of shit. I put on the list because it is based on the DeFeo family.
Yes.
But a fun story about the DeFeo family and this piece of shit house that costs too much. This is like the precursor to buying someone's story and warping the shit out of it.
Yes.
Because what we don't see in the original Amityville horror movie and the remake with Ryan Reynolds later on is that couple from The Conjuring who started all this bullshit. They did this.
Yeah.
And everything is manufactured for this story. Yes. Yeah. Ronald DeFeo killed his family.
Yes, he did.
The end. He didn't have the devil in him. The house wasn't fucking haunted because he murdered a bunch of kids. He just killed some people. As horrific as that sounds, yeah, the end. He murdered. And then they fucking ran with it. That the house had demons in it. They had Catholic priests come by. Oh my God, we got to do this. We got to do that. And the over-fictionalization of the family that comes in afterward is just icing on the cake, like I said before. It makes it for a great horror movie, but as a true story movie, it is very like bottom of the barrel. It's on the list because it's a true story, but it's also because it's a classic horror movie as well.
Oh, it's a great horror movie.
It's fantastic.
Now it does make for a great horror movie for the horror movie season, but as far as like you said, as far as true story, Now, one of the things that's another one of those things, like with JFK, it sent me into, so what really happened before the Amityville horror, quote, quote, happened. So I actually dug into what happened to the original family.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read his firsthand account, he didn't talk about demons. He didn't talk about any voices or anything first.
That just comes off secondhand.
Yeah, that happens later.
Yeah.
And that happens after he finds out he might get the death penalty, and that's a great big might.
Yeah, and it's because of that couple from The Conjuring and Annabelle. They sowed that seed into his goddamn brain. Mm-hmm. They did that. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to talk about it too much more, but it was one of those movies that scared me as a kid.
Yeah.
Because it's so practical. There was one scene where the girl looks out and sees 2 yellow eyes, and it's just a practical effect, and it just fucking bothered me for a little while.
Yeah.
Right over the Texas Chainsaw part where he opens a silver door and it's
that noise.
That crunch. And I'm just like, God damn it.
I will tell you, and you're going to think I'm crazy. This movie did not scare me.
Yeah.
The music did.
Oh, yeah, it's an ambience movie.
The music at the beginning of the movie, when you see the opening credits and it's all white and happy and all the music's all white and happy and everything, and then it all turns red slowly, and it's like the little children singing music at the beginning. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
But
this is one of those where I like the remake more with Ron Reynolds.
I mean, I like it for obvious reasons.
Yeah, but like that one was really intense because he got into it.
Yes.
And the wife did perfect. It's just being
she did
scared.
A great job.
She did a perfect time as being scared. But yeah, you guys should check it out. You know, the Halloween season upon us and everything. This is a bonus episode, by the way, guys. Again, but yeah, check out any of these movies anytime. They're a fun Sunday watch whenever you're off work. Just to have it play in the background, and they're so much fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
Another one I'm going to go, and it's because Leonardo DiCaprio does really good at making real movies, true stories. Gangs of New York. Have you ever seen this movie?
I have not seen the whole thing.
Because it's 3 hours long.
Yeah, I've seen pieces.
Gangs of New York is very hard to watch, but it is a perfect movie in all intents and purposes. It's based on a true story of the 5 original boroughs of New York and the gangs that ran them and the understanding they had between each other.
Yeah.
You had the natives, which were the whites, the American whites. Mm-hmm. You had the dead rabbits, which were like Irish first-generation immigrants who came over. Leonardo DiCaprio plays a first-generation immigrant. Mm-hmm. All right, so he was born in America, but his dad was from Ireland. His dad is played by Liam Neeson.
Hey.
His dad and not Gary Owen, but oh fuck, I'm trying to forget their names. But I'll come back to it. But Daniel Day-Lewis, one of the scariest guys in Hollywood.
Yeah, for real.
Him and Daniel Day-Lewis have a knockdown, drag-out fight in the first 15 minutes of the movie, and he kills Liam Neeson brutally in a giant gangland war. They're both laying there dead, and then it becomes an honor thing where Daniel Day-Lewis is like, no one puts their fucking hands on this man's body. He died with honor by my hand, and no one will ever speak ill will of this man again. As a sign of respect, they hated each other. Mm-hmm. He hated this man because he's a Catholic Irish bug coming over. Yeah. That's verbatim. Mm-hmm. And he hated all of them, and so he killed their leader. And the fucking cat. This is a Martin Scorsese movie, by the way. Leonardo DiCaprio, Daniel Day-Lewis, John C. Reilly, Cameron Diaz does a perfect fucking job. So many great actors, and this is during the time of Tammany Hall. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know, Tammany Hall was a political machine that just put out candidates and won every fucking time. Yeah, it was a money machine, and it was all money made off the ports of New York. Mm-hmm. But this story is fantastic because it plays in the backdrop of the Civil War ramping up. And there's a cool scene when Leonardo DiCaprio comes back to New York after seeing his father die as a child because he's put in an orphanage. So he changes his name to New Amsterdam, which is the original name of New York. Mm-hmm. Comes back and sees Irish men get off boats with their families. And it plays in one unchanged shot of an Irishman being approached by someone from the Tammany Hall thing, handing an Irish woman or children some bread and some groceries or whatever, welcome to America. And then her husband is separated from her. And he's asked, if you want to be an American, you have to fight for America. And he's conscripted into the Union Army. And then it's unchanged shot, like it's an assembly line. You see him walk to the left or walk to the right, and out of the left comes an Irish guy in a Union blue uniform getting back on a boat to go south. And it's a very kind of fucked up backdrop to the whole goddamn story. But no, that it's like any Scorsese film is highly detailed on the backstory. They do take some liberties with it, but not too much. 5 out of 10 when it comes to liberties on like character development. But in the backdrop and the setting itself is a fantastic story. I know it's kind of like watching Pearl Harbor, and you're like, the movie could have been about Cuba Gooding Jr. Could have been about that guy instead of these fake ass people who didn't exist.
I know there are several teachers that use clips of it.
Yes, and it's very, very true to some of the acts. One of my favorite lines, and I've said it to you before, is this Irish guy who's a barber, and he's on a hill in New York, and he's got his barbershop on a hill, and he's running against Daniel Day-Lewis as like alderman or whatever, and he carries a shillelagh, a genuine Irish shillelagh as a weapon. And he's got notches on it of the people he's killed with this goddamn shillelagh. And he warns Leonardo DiCaprio not to kill the main bad guy. He's going to find out who you are, and then he'll really kill you. And he asks him, do you know who Bill Shakespeare is? And Leonardo DiCaprio's character is like, what the fuck are you talking? He wrote the King James Bible. And I'm just like, that's the funniest goddamn line, because it's so batshit insane.
It is.
And it's fucking hilarious. But no, it's on HBO right now. I recommend anybody to go see it. It's a fantastic movie. It's one of those top 10 movies of all time for me, even though I hate Martin Scorsese. But it is a fantastic movie. It plays very well on the story. You see kind of like the high-end class during the riots that broke out during New York, and at that time the Union Army had to be called in to quell a riot, and they fired cannons on New York to the city to just quell car, and ballista lines of soldiers lining up and shooting motherfuckers. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
But no, top 10 movie for me. There's so many good ones.
There are. It's not fair. Oh. Ooh. I will take a lesser known.
Okay.
Ghost in the Darkness.
Yes.
Speaking of Val Kilmer.
Yeah. Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas. Fantastic movie. This was one of those under the radar movies when I was a kid. TNT.
Yes.
God damn it, TNT.
HBO for me.
HBO. Yeah, it was on HBO for a very long time.
Yes, it was.
But no, this is the true story of two protectorate hunters going down to kill two very, very aggressive lions.
Yes.
And this is like a conspiracy of mine when it comes to wildlife, because what I think happened compared to what other people said happened, it kind of makes sense for me. This is one of those weird conspiracies. Do you know what a Nemean lion is?
I've heard of it before.
A Nemean lion at one time is what the Roman Empire would catch and put into the Colosseum. It's larger than a regular Serengeti lion. It's massive. There is one lone photo of one, and it's considered to be the last photo ever of a Nemean lion. They're considered extinct. Yeah. But they're a special breed of lion that were called man-eaters. Like Ghost in the Darkness talks about, these two are man-eater lions. And, some Serengeti, African plains lions will kill a man. But it's very rare that a male lion will kill a man just for, like, food. Yeah. So this is what kind of makes the story kind of crazy is, in my thinking of this, I think what they killed was a Nemean lion, a very super aggressive animal that's almost extinct, that was attacking villages, because it's very rare that big cats just randomly attack villages for food. and kill people, because like it's kind of like great whites and sharks. You know, Jaws is like Jaws will kill everybody in the ocean. It's like in real life, great whites will only attack you if you're really antagonizing or is very hungry, and it'll take a swipe at you. But very rarely are you going to see someone get murdered by a fucking shark.
Yeah.
Even though that happens every year, it's usually just one person.
Yeah.
You look like a giant turtle.
Normally it takes a nibble and then it lets you go.
Unless you really fuck with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one was a fantastic movie.
I actually looked this up.
Yeah.
Because this is a historical thing.
Yeah.
So the story is, be it true or false, the story is that there were 2 male lions and that they were attacking the villages or the campsites where they were digging in the diamond mines. And they would only attack the villages of the campsites at night. And they were carrying off individuals, and they would only find the individuals skinned. Yeah. And that's actually a that's a diary account. Yeah. That's a first-hand diary account that's actually written down. And the story is that they found the lions and they executed the lions. And that the only thing they can come up with is that those 2 lions got separated from a pride and just somehow got addicted to the taste of human flesh. And they weren't hunting for food.
Yeah.
They were hunting for fun.
For sport.
They were hunting for sport. And they only did it at night. And they only went to that campsite.
Yeah, it's just a wild fucking story.
Yeah, it is.
It's one of those ones where you hear about, like, there was one story similar to this about a man going to, I think it was India, and going after a bear in India that attacks not only him, but another young boy of a guy who just got killed earlier that day, which was his guide. And he follows it down to the woods and is posted up, and he can't move because he's been wounded. And he's waiting for this goddamn bear to show up, and waiting and wait. And then he sees him. And keep in mind, this guy's kneeled against, laid up against a tree. His leg's in a splint. If he tried to put weight on it, it would never work again. He's in crucial pain, but he stays up the whole fucking night until he sees that son of a bitch and lures it in and kills it. And it's a giant fucking Indian bear, like an Indian black bear. And, stories like these are just kind of fascinating altogether. If you go on YouTube, there's actually a great documentary about the Ghost in the Darkness, the true story, and how they did examine the remains that were inside the lions after they were killed, and found like some items that shouldn't have been in there. Like, why would it have this much food in it? It had like so much food that was already decaying, like being digested, that it decided to eat again when it didn't have to. Yeah. So it like killed someone, waited just long enough not to be sluggish, and then killed someone else and ate them too. It didn't make sense. Yeah. But, this is also a long time ago. We don't know the conditions really of the Serengeti or the, Sub-Sahara, at the time. But it is a fascinating story. Yeah. It was one of the ones I saw later on TNT. Just out of the blue. What the fuck is Ghost of the Darkness? What a fucking title, too. Yeah. Another one I'm probably going to do is Black Mass. We went to the movie theater to see that one. I will say this is one of the few times where I've watched a movie and I forget someone's playing in a movie. Yeah. Johnny Depp, does a fantastic job of being Whitey Bulger. He did. He really, truly did. And I'd forget it's him when watching it because he doesn't look like himself. No. There's a lot of makeup and stuff involved, but even the voice, the mannerisms, the way he moves is just fucking terrifying. Yeah. Like if a shark was a person. Yes. Like he is wide-eyed and bushy-tailed a lot of the movie because he's doing fucking drugs. Yeah. But like there are parts where I'm just like, you let this motherfucker get that close to you? Yeah. Like not even like in a social sense, but like in a civil sense. Like you're just walking down the street, get the fuck away from this dude. Yeah, for real. Benedict Cumberbatch, Johnny Depp played brothers. God, I forgot Benedict Cumberbatch was in there. Yeah, he plays Connolly, the brother. I forgot about that. Kevin, the little more upstanding brother. Yeah, Kevin Bacon's in it. A lot of fantastic actors on the up and coming end, and it is just kind of a visceral fucking movie to watch. I remember me and you sitting there watching, and the only time I got tense watching that movie, there was a scene where, so he makes a back alley deal with an FBI agent. Mm-hmm. The FBI agent is going to tell him some stuff about the Italian mob in Boston, and he'll give up information regarding criminal activities. Whitey Bulger never gives up anybody.
No, he doesn't have to.
That was the myth. That was the myth he made with the FBI. He never actually gives anybody up. Yeah. He just did it so the FBI could tell him where criminals are, and where he could tell him where criminals are that are fucking with his business.
Yep.
And at some point in the goddamn movie, the FBI agent says, "Hey, come on over to my house. Why do you come and hang out?"
Like a moron.
And his wife, the FBI agent's wife, who's the smartest person in the whole goddamn movie, next to Whitey Bulger, is like,
"You moron.
I'm not going to eat with this fucking monster, in my house." So she goes upstairs.
She's terrified, and rightly so.
She feigns sickness. And Whitey Bulger, in all intents and purposes, is like, "Hey, where's your wife, John?" "Oh, she's not feeling well. She's under the weather. Blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you what, let me go check on her real quick." And he does nothing. Granted, he probably couldn't do anything, but he does nothing. And he knocks on the door. And this is where I'm just like, I don't know enough about this to say, does he kill her? Like,
yeah, you and I were both like ramrod straight.
Yeah, I'm just like,
and I'm going, he's gonna kill her.
And I'm just like, is he gonna kill the FBI agent's wife in her house in the middle of the goddamn day during a barbecue? She cracks the door open. First mistake. She cracks the door open, and he's like, "Oh, I heard you're not feeling well. What?" And she's like, "Well," and she alludes to the company I keep seems to be making me ill. And he knows, he's smart enough to realize, he ain't like the other gangsters who just can't take a fucking hint. He knows what the fuck she's saying. Mm-hmm. And he does this thing with his hand. He takes his hand into a straight like palm and guides it along the side of her face. And he's like, "You don't feel hot. You don't feel like you're burning up." And at that moment, I'm just like, that's the most uncomfortable goddamn thing I think I've seen in a movie. Mm-hmm. And I watched war crime videos. Like, it's just like, it made me so fucking tense. I'm just like, is he going to choke this bitch? And then he puts his hand under her chin, like a doctor would to, like, check your lymph nodes. Mm-hmm. And he's just like tilting her fucking head back with one hand and moving side to side. I'm just like, oh no. This is so much worse than it's going to be. And that fucking part of the movie, I'm just like, oh, this is the opening salvo. This is what the whole movie is going to be like. Yep. And then he goes off the fucking rails.
Oh, yeah.
He loses his mind. Mm-hmm. Perfect movie.
It was really good.
There was a scene, though, that was really true, that they kind of dumbed down a little bit, I think, because it would make people just stop watching the movie if they showed the true part of it. There was a scene where one guy, his daughter is locked up in jail, and him and Whitey go pick her up, played by Juno Temple. And she gets in the car. He's like, "Hey, sweetheart, how you doing?" She's like, "I'm fine, Whitey. I just want to let you know I didn't tell anybody anything, And that's the stepdaughter of the other gangster in the car. Mm. Turns out that gangster was fucking his own stepdaughter. And Whitey Bulger knew this. He was fucking her too. The problem was she knew too much. So they take her to an abandoned house, and he forces the stepdad to strangle her to death. In real life, they both killed this girl. That's what they left out of the movie. I knew that was true before I watched the movie. Mm-hmm. And I was like...
I did not.
When I watched that movie, I'm just like, is he going to do that? Because Johnny Depp, when he plays a real life person, is not going to go full tilt. Kind of like Leonardo DiCaprio would.
Yeah.
Fun fact, there's a new movie with Leonardo DiCaprio coming out. It's based Killers of the Flower Moon. Osage County Murders. I recommend anyone to go watch that movie that comes out this month in October. By the time you're listening to this, please go watch that movie. It is the most disgusting part of American history when it comes to Texas. and Native Americans. So check
I'm
that out.
blinking rapidly because I have an idea of what it's about.
We'll talk about it after the show. Maybe we'll go to the movies and see it.
Oh, God, I don't think I want to.
You want to choose the next one?
No!
You chose the last one.
No, I have a bad history of choosing what movies we go to.
Oh, come on. I'm pretty sure there's some Sister Fister movie out there.
I didn't know, okay?
Long-running joke on this show. But yeah, Black Mass, perfect movie. One of the best movies I think we've both seen in the theater in a while. Granted, probably a fucking horror movie if you want to say.
I felt like it was a horror movie, especially during that same scene you were talking about.
Uncomfortable real fucking quick.
As a woman, I'm sitting there watching this going, please stop, please stop, please stop, please stop. And then when he walked out of the room, I'm like, oh, thank God.
That's one of those movies. That's one of those movies I kind of just wanted to go like Mystery Science Theater on and just like redub it and be like, let me touch your face.
No.
But no, he does, in all intents and purposes, goes off the rails.
Yeah, he does.
And, you know, talking about movies about crime, he gets caught later in life. Mm-hmm. He gets sent to West Virginia in prison. All intents and purposes, this man got away with it.
Yeah, he did.
He did. He got away with everything. I do love a scene, though, in the very beginning where he's walking down the street and he helps this old lady. Oh, Whitey, is that you? How you doing? By Mrs. So-and-so. And she's like, I thought you were in Alcatraz. Oh, no, they let me out. They let me out years ago. Oh, that's good. I'm glad to see you back in the. And I'm just like, hey, this motherfucker went to Alcatraz. Like, this place wasn't open for very long because of the people that were in it. And I was like, they let this motherfucker out of Pelican goddamn Bay to just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Al Capone was here, you know. Yeah, fuck me. And you know why? You know how he got out early?
Didn't he volunteer for, he volunteered, oh God, what was it? He volunteered for something, some kind of medical trial. Human
experimentation regarding LSD.
Yeah.
He was able, so back then you could take LSD as part of an experimentation, get years knocked off, or get some time knocked off. He took so much that he was able to get let go. And this motherfucker was serving like a 20-year sentence. So his mind was burned down.
It explains a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, fantastic cast, fantastic movie, worth the rewatch, has a lot of rewatch value.
Oh, yeah.
Soundtrack was fantastic.
It really was.
A lot of Rolling Stones, like Martin Scorsese would do it. You know, it's that time, you know. Mm-hmm. Rolling Stones being the best goddamn music on earth by then. Mm-hmm. But yeah, go ahead and toss another one.
I'm going to go for one you don't think.
Okay.
Well, I was. I still am. Malcolm X.
Fantastic movie.
Where is Denzel Washington's Oscar?
Training Day. That's where he got it.
No.
But
should have got it for Malcolm X.
He should have got it for Malcolm X. This was a perfect biopic movie of the time. Mm-hmm. Released not long in the time span of JFK. A couple other biopics at that time. But Denzel Washington at his prime.
Yes. And ironically, they didn't have to do much to him to make him look like Malcolm X, which is also strange.
No, but there's the resting face that he has in that movie. It's very structured. The standing still very quickly and then being angry all the goddamn time, mm-hmm. which Malcolm X was really good at.
Yeah.
But you rarely see him smile or blink in the movie, mm-hmm. which kind of plays up, you know, how serious he is mm-hmm. during the whole performance. Especially during that one scene where he's on the TV show being interviewed, and it gets very, very tense for no goddamn reason.
Yeah.
But that scene alone deserved an Oscar, just, you know, Best Picture at the time. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's hard to say who had the Best Picture a lot of times, mm-hmm. because at the same time Malcolm X came out, I believe Godfather Part 2 had come out. Mm. And that's a hard movie to say isn't Oscar worthy. Especially with someone like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino doing their fucking very best.
Yeah, but see, my argument is Pacino should have already got his award by then.
Yeah, for Godfather 1.
Yes, absolutely.
But, you know, this is what I think where Best Picture, Best Actor and stuff, like, it's hard to say. If it was a People's Choice kind of situation, I think that's why we have that.
Yeah.
You have the Academy, then you have People's Choice Awards. Yeah, I think that's where that really comes in. Mm-hmm. But no, fantastic movie. That's a great historical movie that's very accurate.
It is. It is extremely
to the
accurate.
True story.
One of, as messed up as it is, there's 2 parts of it that are my favorite. One, when he's in jail, and I believe, can't think of the actor's name. It's the same one that's the dad from Sound of Music.
Mm-hmm.
He comes in and he's a preacher of some fashion. He's talking about God and Jesus and everything. And Denzel Washington gets up to have a conversation with him. And they're talking about white Jesus. And there's a picture of white Jesus in the room. And they're discussing white Jesus. The way he does it, the tone he uses, the way he talks and everything, I can't tell Denzel Washington's in the room.
Yeah.
He does such a good job of embodying Malcolm X there. And then, as far as video and picture, the end of the movie. I gotta give it to Spike Lee, because this is a Spike Lee joint.
Yeah.
To quote the man directly. Spoiler alert for the end of the movie. The way they do the ending is very good. They play Sam Cooke's A Change Is Gonna Come when they're driving to the Autobahn Ballroom. And you could not have picked a better song. And there's no sound except the music. And then they drive to the ballroom. And the only time you hear any sound is when the assassination happens. And as far as the picture and the visual of it, they do a really good job of the interpretation of it. Because it's very, I mean, I imagine the actual situation was far more graphic, but the way they do it in the movie is extremely graphic. But the interpretation of it with that song really got me the first time I watched it. I also like the way that they give us Malcolm X's life prior to him going to jail, which is always interesting to me to see how that's interpreted.
Another interpretation of this was in the movie Muhammad Ali, which showed a kind of better representation of how he got killed, where an argument breaks out in the crowd, and Malcolm X steps to the side of the dais and is like kind of waving down, "Hey guys," basically saying, "Calm down, chill out," and that's when the 2 guys shoot him. It's a little bit more accurate to the true story and eyewitnesses talk about, but that is another fantastic movie about Muhammad Ali. But it's also got Malcolm X in there. That's really important.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out, our history episode about this on History We Forgot. We did a deep dive on this, and this is one of the reasons we brought it up. But yeah, going to the next one, I got to talk about another long one.
Uh-oh.
That I know you probably haven't seen is Kingdom of Heaven.
I have not. You've been on me for years, and it's on my to watch before I die list.
Yeah. Kingdom of Heaven is.
You always want to watch these 3-hour epics, man.
Because I got the time. I can either that or watch a whole fucking season of a show.
Whereas
but Kingdom of Heaven is the story of the Crusades. It's a very microcosm of the Crusades. Ed Norton plays King Baldwin IV. The leper king. The king was born with leprosy, who remained king of Christendom in Jerusalem, took Jerusalem from the Muslims, and was regarded as, basically a godhead on earth, right there with the Pope. But it also focused on a character, Orlando Bloom. Orlando Bloom. It focuses on his character, Baron of Ebelin. Great kind of opener. Liam Neeson and his ragtag bunch of crusaders from either Africa, Germania, just a whole group of people rolling into this little French town. Your boy from Underworld, Michael Sheen, is in it, and he plays a priest, and they're burying a girl on the side of a road, and he sees these crusaders rolling into town. And right before he tells them to put the body in, he's like, "Make sure you cut off her head. She was a suicide." And They bury her. And it turns out that's Orlando Bloom's wife who committed suicide. And he's a blacksmith. And he is just pounding away at metal, getting the fire as hot as it's working himself to death. And Liam Neeson is looking for his son that he left behind in France. And it's Orlando Bloom. Mm-hmm. But Liam Neeson wants to have a relationship with this guy. And this is, the fiction part of it, but it still makes a very good point of it. Mm-hmm. Was, Crusaders had bastard children on the road to Jerusalem.
Makes sense.
And this was on the road to Jerusalem. Mm-hmm. So he comes and finds out the guy's wife is dead. And he's like, if you want to find your place in the world and find God and answers, come with me to Jerusalem and we can find it for you. Because, that was a big part for a lot of people. That's a powerful thing about, Christendom was go to the Holy Land to fix yourself. Mm-hmm. But also, it was a duty to do so. Yeah. Meanwhile, Michael Sheen's character shows up at night while Orlando Bloom's just kind of sulking and trying to figure out what to do. And he whispers into his ear, he's like, you need to go there to fix your sins, and maybe your wife can go to heaven. And that's what he says to this man who just lost his wife. And keep in mind, this is a little blacksmith shop, like out in the open. He proceeds to push Michael Sheen into a fire, take a fucking red hot sword that he was crafting and stab this man. And the reason he does it, he notices the priest is wearing a cross necklace that his wife had on when he wrapped her for burial. Ooh. He basically grave robbed this dude's wife. Mm-hmm. And he reaches in, grabs the cross. It burns his hand on the inside, and he rips it off. And it's just like, that's how you open it. That's a good opener. Yeah,
that sounds like a pretty good opener.
But it goes from that to him being shipwrecked and landing in Lebanon, which is above, Jerusalem. Yeah. But the Lebanon, it's the, this is a very thing people kind of don't understand about geography. There was the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. There's the Lebanon, These were giant, areas. Yeah. And he meets two Islamic crusaders. Yeah. And they're going to try to murder him. And he fights one, kills one, and takes one. The guy's like, hey, you won. You killed my master. You take me as a slave. And he's like, I don't have slaves. I was one. I would not bear one. And he spares the guy's life and says, just take me to Jerusalem. Takes him all the way to fucking Jerusalem, turns him loose, gives him a horse. Gives this Muslim guy a horse. And he looks him up and down and says, I won't forget this. I'll see you again. I'll see you on the next ride, but I'll see you again. He then progresses because his father dies. Liam Neeson dies. He becomes the Baron of Ibelin. And then he meets the sister of Baldwin IV, the king of Jerusalem. And he's just like, hey, and this is kind of like the soap opera telling version of it. Mm-hmm. The guy she's going to marry is a piece of shit because her husband was killed in battle. Mm-hmm. And the guy she's supposed to marry is kind of an asshole. I'll tell you what, I'll have him murdered. And you can be her husband. And you'll have all the land and titles. All you got to do is just marry her. And Orlando Bloom's just like, I'm trying to find Jesus. And like, he goes to the mount. He goes to the place where Christ died and feels nothing. He's gone. Like, he's just gone. Yeah. And he goes back to his lands that he owns of Ibelin and turns it into an oasis in the desert. He's got a village of people to take care of because he's the baron of that area. Yeah. But he still has to crawl up to the Crusades, and then he has to go to battle. He decides to defend this small kingdom which is a true story, of a Hysteria. Mm-hmm. He decides to defend it. It's only him and a band of riders. That's it. And on the horizon is Salah ad-Din, the Muslim ruler of the Crusades.
Now that history part there, I do know.
No. He sends an emissary with 10,000 men to ride on that city. And it's just Orlando Bloom's character and a handful of riders. And so they line up and get ready to charge to give them time for the people outside to get inside the castle or whatever. They get fucking smashed immediately. And before he thinks someone's going to cut his fucking head off, here comes that Muslim guy he saved. It turns out that Muslim guy was another baron. The guy he killed was his slave, or was his, right-hand guy. Because he spared him, he spared him and his men. And he's talking to him. He's just like, well, I have the army of Allah with me. I spared you, but I don't know how long that's going to last. But then there's talking on like a giant field, a giant desert field. And while he's talking, he's looking at Orlando Bloom, and he looks over Orlando Bloom's shoulder, and out of what looks like a mirage are battle-hardened Christian soldiers coming over the horizon with a giant golden cross being led by King Baldwin himself. And out of the sunset, while the sun's going down, comes Salah ad-Din and the rest of his army. And they both meet in the middle of the field, Braveheart moment.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and there's a mutual respect for one another. Because Salah ad-Din had lost to Baldwin when he was a young man. But now Baldwin is a sick man. He wears an iron mask. And that's a true story of Baldwin IV. He wore a mask made of silver to cover the fact that he had leprosy. Because it would be terrifying to see his face. Yeah. And he speaks to Saladin in Arabic. He doesn't speak in English or French. He speaks to him in Arabic, in his native language. And there's a fucking understanding back and forth. He's like, we could all die here today. I don't give a shit. Saladin's like, we could. Play it out, see what happens. And Baldwin's like, Assalamu alaikum, salam, brother. And they fucking part their ways. They go different ways.
Let's go to the house.
And Salah ad-Din offers, he's like, I'll send my best physicians to help you out. You're solid. Because at any time, Baldwin IV could have killed Salah ad-Din, could have murdered him immediately, but never did. Later on, they find the guy that kind of kickstarts this war, this guy who murdered Salah ad-Din's sister, and giant battle at the end. Everything kind of works out. But what is awesome about this movie, at the end, he makes it all the way back to France with the Queen of Jerusalem with him, who's in disguise. And here comes down the mountain, trying to get to Jerusalem, to retake Jerusalem for Christians, King Richard the Lionheart. And it's just like, and that's like an Easter egg at the end. And I'm just like, holy fucking shit, he was there for a long time. And it's a fantastic movie. There's the unedited version. There's an edited version. Watch the unedited. It's like 3 hours and a half long. Watch it like a show. I don't give a shit, but it's fucking fantastic.
Sounds like it should have been cut into a show.
My God, what a great movie. Probably do one more than this, so we'll set up for a part 2 later on.
All right. Let's see. End on a good note. Well, if we're going to end on a good note, let's end on the gorgeous Gerard Butler with 300.
Michael Fassbender.
Yes. Speaking of gorgeous.
Gerard Butler. Lena Headey.
Yes.
Trying to make, rest of us great again. Just a fantastic group of people.
Yes.
Zack Snyder, fucking perfect movie.
Yes.
It was like watching like if a metal music video just had words.
Went into history class.
Yeah, and it's very Shakespearean. Like
it really is.
The lines are delivered a certain way. It's not like this like overdone bro movie, even though it is. But it's like it's not meant that way.
Yeah.
This is meant as a graphic novel interpretation of a brutal part of history.
Yeah.
With the Persians and the Greeks.
Yeah.
They take a lot of fucking liberties.
They do. Elephants,
the Persians themselves,
rhinos,
the
weird scene where the hunchback guy is walking through the thing where the thing with the goat heads playing and all that. Yeah,
there's girls
stuff.
with deformities fucking like just shaking their ass. Yeah, it's very weird. But the fact that Xerxes, the king of Persians, is like 8 feet tall is another fucking weird one. I don't know if you got a chance. Did you watch Rise of a?
No, you talked to me about it, so
I want to incorporate that in this. I want to incorporate that one in this conversation.
Okay.
But Leonidas is just this over the top Spartan killer. He talks about the story of how Spartans are.
Yeah.
If you're deformed, you're thrown into the pit. Blah blah blah. You're made to fight to the death, basically, as children.
Yeah.
Until we get cold-blooded killers out of all of you. Mm-hmm. And they're all super fucking jacked. Mm-hmm. Like, they're all doing, like, P90X and shit. Like, I love the true story of some of them where they're just, like, really working. Like, Michael Fassbender and Gerard Butler are just working the fuck out every goddamn day.
Yeah.
Just to get that fucking physique.
Eating drywall and wood chips.
Yeah, just bringing gunpowder and fucking raw meat. And just getting vicious as shit.
Yeah.
Like beta fish. Mm-hmm. But the lines of the movie are memorable. The story is fantastical.
Everybody knows this is Sparta, but my favorite is the one where
the Persians rolling up on them. The Persian emissaries rolling up on them, and they're building that wall. Is that yep.
When he knocks the guy down and he says, "Our arrows will blot out the sun," and Michael Fassbender says, "Then we'll fight in the shade."
Yeah,
that's always been my favorite line.
But he's like, "You fucking heretic!" And like, and then he sees the wall.
Yeah,
they built made of rocks and dead Persians.
Yeah,
and he's just like, "What the
with your help, your Persian spies supplied the mortar."
Yeah, and they're just like, they look like masons. They really do. They just like guys working out outside, just like, yeah, this is perfect. Yeah, what a day to be alive. Mm-hmm. And that is a fucking phenomenal fucking line. We'll just fight. I mean, that was in the trailer. That was a fantastic.
Yeah,
one. That's that cut with a knife kind of thing, and it's just so fucking brutal. Mm-hmm. I remember learning about that on the History Channel like 2 years before that movie ever came out. It was back when the History Channel did the simulated battles with like computer generated stuff. It looked like a 2005 Windows game. Mm-hmm. But like they talked about Leonidas holding this little gate. Mm-hmm. This one little area, if he can just hold it, it doesn't matter how many people you have. If we can hold this little area, we could fuck them all up. Yeah. And he was right. You know, that's used as battle tactics today. You know, if you can get somebody get a large group in a confined space, numbers don't matter. Yeah. And it worked out perfect for a good solid week. The true story of Leonidas in his last 300 is brutal. Mm-hmm. And they decimated a lot of his forces. And I love like the waves of characters that came. You know, you had his main, troops and stuff come running in and getting their shit rocked. Mm-hmm. And all they had was shields and spears. Yep. And a sword on the side. And then they yell, break. And then they fucking scatter and starts murdering the rest of them. Yep. And it is just wild as fuck. And the older guy that was like Leonidas' friend, whose son was a fighter. Oh, God. When his son gets got, and he just goes fucking off the rails and starts murdering the untouchables. That's what they called them. Xerxes Untouchables. These guys who immortal fucking killers. And they got the silver mask, the black K-Rod, which is like the robe that covers the face, and he takes on 5 of them at once, and they spear him. And he pulls it close just so he can stab one to death. And I'm just like, that's some God of War fucking shit right there. That is metal as fuck. And I know we're not on our history podcast, but even though that's always in the back of my mind, that's one of the things I loved about this movie is they paid attention to so much of the actual historical detail with the movie. Because the way they did the phalanx with their shields was actually historically accurate, and they show it how they set it up and everything. Yeah. And the way they actually did their weaponry and everything was actually accurate was one of the things I liked. Because you have such an outlandish thing with the elephants and the rhinos and the facial piercings and all that stuff that... Might as well be a fucking dragon in there somewhere. Yeah, for real. But then you have the actual historical attention to detail with the costuming and with Leonidas in them. Yeah. And then the phalanx and the spears, and because they actually... I've watched so much of the behind the scenes on that movie. Oh my God, ridiculous. Yeah. They paid so much attention to trying to stay historically accurate with that part of it, which I think is really interesting. Because they read the representations of how long Leonidas' spear was supposed to be. And they made the comment, they're like, we took it to the prop guys. The prop guys are like, get the F out of here. We're not doing this. Because it was supposed to be, I think, 3 times longer than a man or some junk like that. They're like, how are you going to throw this? Yeah, it's damn near impossible. Yeah. But some of the other stuff I learned about it, behind the scenes on this one, the scene with Gerard Butler and Lena Headey, where he accidentally breaks her nose during a sex scene because she goes down and he goes up and he fucking headbutts her in the nose and breaks her goddamn nose. And I think that has got to be one of the funniest goddamn stories.
Oh, that's got to be hilarious.
Oh yeah, it's funny as fuck. But we see like a lot of interpretations of this in the next movie that came out. I forget what it's Rise of something, 300 Rise of, anyway. I went to the theater and saw this, and the main character is the reason the war's going on. He fucking waited for Xerxes' dad to retreat, shot a fucking arrow randomly, and killed Xerxes' father in front of him, like just boom, like right there. And that's what kicked it off. Just like this asshole started the war. And so as it ends, like Leonidas gets killed.
Yeah.
At the end, all of his 300, and the Persians march on Athens.
Yeah. Which is historically accurate.
Yeah. Rise of an Empire. That's what.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say. I think it's Rise of an Empire.
And that it picks up where that movie leaves off. Them marching over Leonidas' dead body.
Yeah.
And them destroying and sacking Athens. Yeah. But they haven't decided to go south, take Sparta yet, because they're waiting for their naval fleet to show up, which is run by a woman, Agatharia, which is I think that's her name. I'm not pronouncing it right. I know I'm not, but it's also the name of a plant here in North America. That's where the name comes from. Her. It's a very poisonous bush.
Makes sense.
But anyway, it's played by Ava Green.
Yay! Love her. She's
fantastic. The Lord's mistress. And she...
Love her, Penny Dreadful.
She is from Greece. But she's raised by Persians. The main guy you see get killed in the beginning, the black guy, the emissary that gets killed, is the guy who raises her. And so she's very pissed.
No.
And by the time the second movie starts, and she has a navy. And so this the main guy who started this whole shit was a Athenian warrior. He wasn't like Leonidas. He wasn't like this elite warrior. But he goes to Leonidas' wife and says, I'm going to try to finish this. And the one-eyed guy who's doing the narration of the movie is still there.
Yeah, because he makes it at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
They send him back to tell the story, and he's the
lost an eye.
Because he's the one that's left with the army.
And so him in the Athenian army, what's left of it, are going to take on the fleet. There is a scene where he goes to speak with this woman, and they're just hate fucking each other in a boat. And like, there's two of those like, was it untouchable guards? Yeah, untouchable soldiers on the boat. Immortals, and they're just kind of like standing there, and they hear all this banging and hollering and shit, and like screaming and all this, and they're just like looking at each other and just like, nope, not going in there. Not getting fucking murdered either by an Athenian or this woman, because if I interrupt it, she's gonna fucking murder me. Yeah, and it's so fucking hilarious. And he refuses the peace, blah blah blah, and like she refuses the same thing, and it's just like, this is the most toxic goddamn couple. They're both like codependent assholes that are just gonna let so many people die. But it ends with them fighting the Persians off on the fucking sea. And there's a cool scene where Lena Headey comes out of a boat on a horse and comes right after that bitch.
Cool.
And starts murdering fucking Persians left and fucking right. What a fun movie. What a fun movie. The second one I went to the theater and saw. The first one I had on DVD. I got that the same time I got a movie called The Reaping.
Hey, another good movie.
Oh, God. We're going to do a part 2 on our cults and movies.
Yes.
That was a Christmas gift, the Reaping and 300 on DVD.
Yes! Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Well, folks, this is another bonus episode, like I said, for the Couch Brotatos, and we're not quite sure when this is going to come out, but we hope you enjoy it. Let us know in the Discord about anything else you want us to cover with the Halloween season coming upon us by the time we're recording this. Check out History We Forgot with me and Cristy. Check out Triple C. And shout out to anybody on listening to anything else on Something Good Network. These fucking guys with Mikey and Dante. Something Good for You with Alex and Dave. And let us know. Like, be in touch in the Discourse. Reach out to us anytime you want. and ask us questions. We're more than happy to answer. Again, Cristy, thank you for joining us on the Couch Brotatos. Hey, all guys, have a good one.
Have a good one.
You've been listening to the Something Good Network. If you liked what you heard, you can follow us on Instagram, and check out the other great shows on the network. Link is in the episode description.